The fluid must move across two metals, just as the sun moves across the leaves.
October is upon us again, and what better horror experience there is than to take another walk down Cryo Interactive Road. To extend the olive branch, I do have a soft spot for Cryo. I can't help but be intrigued by their unique looking titles, breaking away from the conventional adventure game. And in 2001 saw the release of an H.P. Lovecraft inspired game, Necronomicon: The Dawning of Darkness. As with a lot of Cryo's adventure games, it's presented in the 360-degree panoramic method as used in Aztec. Don't worry though, this won't be half an hour long, I promise. The original PC version got the usual wide release, but what makes the PlayStation version more obscure is that it was only released in Europe, distributed by Wanadu Edition, now known as their original name of Microids. Cryo's intellectual properties were acquired by Microids in 2008, which is why you'll see the Wanadu or Microids logo on a lot of their box covers. Necronomicon has a very gothic American setting in 1927 Providence, Rhode Island. You play as William H. Stanton, a young scholar studying in his home when he suddenly gets an unexpected knock at the door. This is where you take control of William, and it works exactly how Aztec did. But unlike Aztec, DualShock analog control has been added. There is still mouse compatibility, but I found the analog control surprisingly easy to use. And since my PS1 mouse is in a currently inaccessible location, I'm going sticks this time round. Upon answering the door, William's close friend Edgar Wycherley bursts in, desperate and hysterical.
Edgar? William.
What's going on?
Listen, to look at me, you'd think I'm not right in the head, but the reasons for my condition are far more awful than mere madness. William, what I've discovered goes beyond understanding. You just have to believe me. We're all in the gravest danger.
He entrusts William with a mysterious artifact and instructs him not to give it or show to anyone, including himself. Shortly after he leaves, another visitor, Dr. Robert Eagleton, arrives to discuss Edgar's mental health and concerns of his father.
Dr. Robert Eagleton, physician and friend of Sir Christopher Wycherley. I would like to talk to you about his son, Edgar Wycherley, who, if I'm not mistaken, is a friend of yours.
He asks William to go see Edgar at his home in Port Toxia and see what the whole hoo-ha is about. With the initial intrigue established and your first goal set, the game starts proper. Navigation is as you expect, point to an accessible location and click. This can be slow going when exploring a single location, as loading times can become bothersome. Fortunately, as I capture game footage via a PS2, there is the option to turn on the PS1 disk speed feature, which is very useful for playing PS1 games, for the most part. Some games can react quite amusingly to this. Silent Hill, for example, suffers from truncated dialogue.
How do you feel?
Oh, I've been run over by a truck. But I'm alright, I guess.
So William heads off to the little seaside town of Pawtuxet to start his investigations. Oh goody, a whole town to slowly point and click around.
Please, I need information.
Yeah? Well, there's none here.
A town full of uncooperative dicks, awkward navigation layout, and people either not in or pretending to be out when you knock on every single door as, being an adventure game, you inevitably will.
Go away! There ain't no monorail and there never was.
A good place to ask is at the general store, which is where the best item in the game is sold. The map. This doesn't help with negotiating individual locations, of course, but is used for selecting the main locations, including fast travel. Instead of having to find your motorcycle each time, you can simply click and go. Even indoors. A lot of games will only let you fast travel when you're outside. Not Necronomicon. If you're ransacking someone's house and think, sod this, away! You just can. To purchase this map, William uses what appears to be a handful of small change he picked up from his study desk. But it goes a long way.
Crumb and Son. At your service.
This wanker charged you $20 for this map, and a further $20 for just information regarding Edgar.
That's $40 altogether?
But then this is the 20s, and a nickel will buy you a steak and kidney pie, a cup of coffee, a slice of cheesecake and a newsreel, with enough change left over to ride the trolley from Battery Park to the Polo Grounds. William finds the location of Edgar's house and stumbles upon his research into some very dodgy goings-on. Research that Edgar is continuing from his ancestors. William reports his findings to Dr. Eagleton, who has Edgar committed, and encourages William to dig even deeper.
By all the spirits at my command, I damn you. May Asenath take you over. You shall remain enslaved to him forever.
Like a lot of underwhelming games like this, the only thing that really keeps you playing is the story. So as usual, I won't dwell on it. Oh, spoilers, it involves the Necronomicon. What is both a blessing and a curse is the old school way the game handles the searching and puzzles, that it doesn't hold your hand at all. Any information comes from either dialogue or reading any found documentation. Documentation you have to sort out in probably the most tedious way imaginable. With one instance of you going to the local newspaper and browsing their archives. And of course, some of the most unintuitive puzzles like this little doozy. At one point, William finds himself in an underground laboratory, which ultimately requires him to summon a spirit. The subtitle Dawning of Darkness really rings true in the latter parts of the game. Seeing where you need to go is made even harder with the PS1 version's badly compressed port, with image artifacting so bad it becomes a confusing JPEG maze. You're required to collect certain items for the conjuring from vague labelled containers, but the most insane part is following cryptic instructions from a brain in a jar. Oh, and get this, in order to get the brain to cooperate, you need to inject a solution consisting of 2 chemicals mixed together from 2 shells of unlabelled containers, and there is no clue, documentation or any indication of which 2 to use. This is a crapshoot. You just need to keep mixing random chemicals together until you get it right. No, Cryo, this is not how you make a challenging puzzle. This just smacks of lazy padding. From this point on, the game just descends into further madness, which is appropriate, I suppose. William already has to endure the crushing reality of tedium, teleporting from low-res photosphere to photosphere, having to engage with hideously animated clay-like humans whose facial hair is taken from the Eric Carmen school of gluing pubes to your face. As usual, I won't spoil the ending, such as it is, but as you can imagine from the rest of the game, it's underwhelming. I read that the PC version has 2 endings, a good and a bad, not the PS1 version. If you mess up, you're simply presented with the game over screen. Fantastic then. I wanted to like this game, I really did. Its intriguing premise and cover art drew me in. It has a genuinely unnerving atmosphere and the lack of music adds to this, but ultimately disappointment prevailed. I still find games like this interesting as a curiosity, and I will cover more Cryo interactive games in the future. I can't recommend this on its gameplay or presentation, but I can if, like me, you enjoy the odd little corners of gaming, or are a die-hard adventure game fan. And for you curious ones, the PC version is available on Steam for £3.99 of your £1. Well, Cryo, our love-hate relationship will have to wait for another time. What polarising quirkiness will you bestow upon us then? Maybe you won't leave us feeling like this as soon as it begins.